Can you shed any light on why the fraud got so out of control in Minnesota?
I think what happened.
Yeah, I think what happened is that you got caught lying and trying to cover up this scandal, just like I said in the last video. Now, let's check out what happened since then.
Well, now investigators are tracking the web of fraud to other Minnesota Democrats, such as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Many of the suspects linked to the scheme live in her district, including a restaurant owner who hosted events for her. He has since been convicted of stealing $12 million in COVID funds.
The whistleblowers that I've spoken to are saying that the governor knew, and the governor and lieutenant governor, and even Chris Schmitter, who was his chief of staff, came to them as staff and scolded them for pointing out fraud.
Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar told CNN this week she believes the fraud spiraled out of control because COVID programs were rolled out without sufficient guardrails.
Okay, that excuse doesn't work.
Yep, that's right. That excuse does not work. Thank you, Doug TeNapel, for letting me use that clip there. So that's why when we were talking about the interview in the last video, that she was so nervous, turned to the side, head kind of tilted, and breathing in, but can't exhale because she knew that, okay, there's about $1 billion of money that was stolen, and I'm directly connected to it, and somehow I've got to deflect from all this and make a different villain and throw this off on Donald Trump so people don't talk about my good close friends that stole all this money.
Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar of Minnesota is here with me now. First of all, federal prosecutors say 59 people have been investigated in these schemes so far. Americans at large stole tens of billions of forms of aid during the pandemic all over the country. Minnesota's fraud scandal stands out, according to federal auditors.
And then we find out, yeah, one of your friends is caught, and you even had one of your campaign events at the restaurant.
The owner of the restaurant where Omar held her 2018 victory party is among those from the Somali community who have been convicted of profiting from the schemes.
Okay,
The level
so
of fraud investigators are finding in
she didn't mention that part. Ilhan Omar, our gal, that the restaurant where she had her 2018 victory party are one of the major benefactors of this fraud.
Now, do you see why she was so nervous, eyes jutting around? And the nervous breathing, and then coming up with the completely crazy excuses that, oh, well, the main point of all of this is not the $1 billion. It's the racist statements by President Trump that we really need to focus on. The racism. Yes, the inappropriate comments from the president where he is just judging all Somalians. So let's keep our eyes over there and not pay attention to that man behind the curtain, Wizard of Oz. Remember that? So $1 billion is a whole lot of money, and all of your people are the ones that comprise of, what was it, like 95% of all the money that was stolen in this $1 billion scam were Somalians. And then we find out that she had the campaign event right there at the restaurant from one of the people that was stealing millions of dollars. Let's just take a look at that real quick.
All right, this news just breaking moments ago. Fox News has obtained photos of one of the Somali illegal immigrants wrapped up in the Minnesota fraud scandal, posing with several high-profile Minnesota Democrats, including Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and Governor Tim Walz. The man pictured is Abdul Dahir Ibrahim. He entered the country in 2000 and has had an order for removal since 2004. He also has a prior conviction in Canada for asylum and welfare fraud.
Ripping people off for millions. She said nothing about it. She didn't care because they were hiding behind feeding the children.
You know what? That's not fair. That is totally not fair. That you have these people up there stealing federal money in the name of feeding starving children, and then they can start these lavish, fantastic, wonderful, brand new restaurants. I don't have the clip of it, but if you would see the restaurant, you'd be like, where in the world did this guy get all the money to start a restaurant like that? Now, I grew up here in Missouri. I was born in Chicago, moved to Missouri. I have an engineering degree. I have had a whole engineering career. I'm a consultant now. I have 5 businesses. I am a serial entrepreneur. I've owned so many businesses over the last 30 years, I can't even name them all. And each time I started a business, it was an absolute, utter struggle to scrap together the money to take a chance on getting a business started. Right now, my biggest business that's brick and mortar is an auto body shop. And I had to pull in an investor and a friend and my parents to help me to put together the down payment just to get the building and buy all the tools necessary. And then you got these idiots out here in Minnesota that just steal federal funds and they start a business from scratch, from ground up. All new, brick, mortar, everything from the ground up, while people like me have to struggle buying an old building and retrofit that old building, buying used materials, used tools, scraping, getting change out of the couch cushions, borrowing from friends, borrowing from my parents just to start a business while they're flourishing because they have access to stolen funds. And Ilhan Omar had her little campaign party at this same place of business. But you know what? It all brings back memories from COVID. And I knew way back then when Sleepy Joe Biden was the president of the United States that there were a ton of people stealing from the Payment Protection Program, the PPP, and also stealing from the small administration, the Small Business Administration with the SBA loans. I got an SBA loan to help my business survive during COVID, and I'm still paying that money back to this day. But the people who raided the PPP, they never had to pay that money back, and it wasn't even ever put towards the salaries of people. They used that just to start these lavish businesses. But in addition to that, they said, hey, we're feeding starving people. And then they sucked $1 billion from the taxpayers. That's just so ridiculous. But check out what the SBA is saying right now.
This looks like a complex scheme that was set up to defraud taxpayers, our federal government, of needed funds that would have gone out during COVID for hungry families, for children, for small businesses. And so when I first heard of the $1 billion corruption, my mind immediately went to PPP. And I said from day one when I came in, it's a new day at the SBA. We are going to crack down on the fraud that the Biden administration completely overlooked, swept under the rug for 4 years. And it wasn't that hard. Within 48 hours, we already found $1 million worth of fraud within the Minnesota Somali crime network. And we're going to continue to investigate and work with our federal law enforcement partners. This is exactly what the democratic socialist welfare state is. It's massive fraud where officials look the other way, enrich themselves for it, and then hardworking Minnesotans, hardworking Americans pay for it in the form of taxes.
And there you have it. So that's how they do it. And you know what? It's a cultural thing. And that's not racist. It's a cultural thing with the Somali people. Just like I said before, you know all about the whole Somali pirates deal. Yeah, well, they're not just pirates on the raging deep blue sea. They're pirates everywhere that they go. So whenever they come over here, they look for opportunities to steal money. And they look for individuals like Ilhan Omar and the governor of the state of Minnesota, who is a complete and absolute utter crook, in my opinion. They look for people to partner with that can help them facilitate the fraud. So then when they get caught, that's why you see in this interview all of the quirks that I picked up that nobody else was talking about. That's why the big deflection comes, where she wants you to focus on this fight with the bad guy, Donald Trump, and it's the racism that is the problem, not the $1 billion of money that has been stolen.
We know that the president oftentimes resorts to very bigoted, xenophobic, Islamophobic, racist rhetoric.
So we don't want you to focus on the theft. We want you to focus on Orange Man Bad. And, you know, as I sit here, I couldn't care any less about the racism. And I'm a black man who grew up in a rural area. And you know what? Hey, I've seen it all. I've done it all. We had people that might as well have been in the Ku Klux Klan in the area where I grew up with. A lot of heinous things done to me, a lot of bigotry, a lot of hatred, a lot of racism. But I've got thick skin. I don't care about that. What I care about is me as a black man in the United States and American, a foundational black American. I don't get the same opportunities afforded to these crooks that come from Somalia. And I think all this stuff needs to get shut the hell down. I want to ask you this question. Post it in the comments. Do you think that we should deport all of these Somalians, just like this man who's had a deportation order since the year 2004, and he's sitting here to this day in 2025 running this lavish restaurant business? Do you think they should all be deported? And the question is, do you think it is racist, or what's the word that they use, xenophobic? Do you think it's racism and xenophobic for us to say, hey, all of you Somalians have to get the hell out of here and go back to your country? Do you think that is wrong? Post in the comments and let's discuss that. And also, do you think we should have an open door to countries that are known to harbor pirates and criminals who are just looking for other opportunities, and gullible individuals and crooked politicians where they can carry out their wrongful plans to steal from other people? I would love to hear your thoughts about it. And in the next video, we're going to show more clips and talk more about the ridiculous racism accusations from Ilhan Omar, and we'll just make this a continuing, ongoing series. More to come. Like, comment, and subscribe right now so you don't miss out. Welcome aboard, all you fantastic new subscribers. Love you all. Great, fantastic subscribers. Probably, most likely, they're great conservatives. Great conservative, American loving people. Gotta love America. I'm just kidding. Before anyone pops a coronary and says, oh, he's a MAGA Trumper. Thanks for watching. That's all I got for now. This is Carlton. I'm out.